Thanks, Drew. Good evening and welcome to the Charlton Board of Selectmen, March 12, 2019 meeting. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to take a moment and have a moment of silence for Dennis Tully. Dennis was a longtime member of the Finance Committee, a local business owner, so a moment of silence for Dennis, please. Thank you. As I stated, Dennis was a longtime member of the Finance Committee. He always had a good point whenever you went to the meeting, and he was always more than happy to explain his reasoning on why he would either A, give you money, or B, he was not going to give you money. He was also a very successful businessman and entrepreneur, and a very, very beloved employer over at MTD. He was also the husband of Darlene Tully, who was our town clerk for a number of years, and the assistant town clerk under Sue Nichols. So to the Tully family, our condolences. So with that, this evening, we're going to have approval of the minutes of the regular meeting from February 19th, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting from February 26th, community relations announcements and open forum, appointments and resignations. We have an appointment for the Insurance Advisory Committee. Under scheduled appointments, at 7 p.m. we have NFP presentation for insurance. At 7:30 p.m., Fourscore at 114 Sturbridge Road, host agreement and related documents. New business, request for a toll road by the Charlton Lions Club. Board of Selectmen 2018 Annual Town Report. Under old business, we have the fiscal year 20 annual town meeting warrant and budget. After that, we have committee reports, Board of Selectmen policy review, student select person report, and other business unknown at time of posting. Our next meetings are going to be Board of Selectmen workshop, March 18th, 2019, in the Board of Selectmen's meeting room. The times to be determined right now. We're trying to get the moving pieces together so we can schedule it. Special Selectmen's meeting, March 20th, 2019, 6:30 p.m. at the Charlton Middle School Library, and that's with the Dudley Charlton Regional School Committee. And then a regular Board of Selectmen's meeting, March 26, 2019, at 6:30 p.m. Okay, we have the minutes from February 19th, 2019.
Through the chair,
Ms. Noble.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes from Tuesday, February 19th.
Second.
With motion a second, any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Noble.
I would like to make a motion that we approve the minutes of the February 26th meeting.
1 second, please.
We have a motion and we have a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Announcements. Rabies and microchip clinic, Saturday, April 6, 2019, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., Charlton Municipal Animal Shelter, 15 Old Town Road. Rabies vaccination and distemper vaccinations, $5 each. Microchips, $20 each, and it's cash only. Cats must be in carriers. Dogs must be on a leash. Please bring previous rabies certificate to determine if you are eligible for a 3 years rabies vaccination. And this is sponsored by the Friends of Charlton Animal Shelter with Second Chance Animal Services. From the town clerk, Thursday, March 14th is the last day to submit nomination papers to the registrars/town clerk for certification. 50 certified signatures required by 5 p.m. Household hazardous waste and electronic collection, Saturday, March 30th, 2019, at 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., Casella Waste Services Facility, 165 Barefoot Road, Southbridge. Proof of residency is required. 2019 annual town election is Saturday, May 4th, 2019, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Heritage School. And the 2019 annual town meeting is Monday, May 20th, 2019, 7 p.m., Charlton Middle School.
Through the chair,
Yes,
I have two other announcements. This Saturday, March 16th, Shepherd Hill will be holding their annual prom dress swap. There's a $5 admission fee, and all dresses are $15. If you bring your own dress in a great condition, you can take one home for free. And then the Winter Percussion will be hosting their show on Sunday, March 24th. It begins at 12 p.m. and tickets are $10 for adults and $8 for seniors and students.
thank you, student select person. We also had some information come in from Casella regarding the town of Charlton residential convenience drop-off over at 200 Leicester Street, which is Route 56 in Oxford. All the pertinent data is up on the town of Charlton .net website. So if you have any questions, you can look on the website. I believe it's under the Board of Health, and I believe we also have it on the banner page. So, appointments and resignations. Ms. Brady?
Yes, sir. Attached is a request from our finance director, who is also the chairman of the Insurance Advisory Committee, stating that the police union would like to have Paul Morelli appointed to the Insurance Advisory Committee as the representative, and Jason Martacci as the alternate representative for their union. Mr. Morelli would be replacing William Bedard, who retired. The term of the appointment would be until May 31st, 2019. I would recommend the board make the appointment as requested.
Do we have a motion?
Chair,
Mr. Singh?
I would make the motion.
Yes.
So moved.
A second. We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Ms. Craver, can we move down to new business request for toll road?
Yes. Okay. Please find attached a letter from the Charlton Lions Club requesting permission to hold a toll road in Charlton Center at the intersection of Main Street and Masonic Home Road on Saturday, May 4th, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The rain date would be May 11th. This request has also been forwarded to Chief Maxfield, who is in support of the toll booth contingent upon the following safety precautions. All volunteers must wear bright-colored vests. Orange traffic cones must be set out on Main Street and Masonic Home Road for a distance of not less than 50 feet on each respective way prior to reaching the toll station. A minimum of 5 traffic cones on each roadway should be put in place at a distance of no greater than 10 feet apart. Signs warning voluntary toll booth ahead must be erected on both Masonic Home Road and Main Street, not less than 75 feet from the toll station. And no stopping of cars or impeding the flow of traffic in any way. This event helps them to raise money to support Mass Lions eye research and other community causes. I would recommend the board approve this request.
We have motion.
So moved.
We have motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have motion and second. Is there any discussion?
I would just like to point out that this is on Election Day.
Oh, okay.
Would they consider also having the location near the polling site? They might get more donations.
I think generally you've had those just at that place.
Okay.
But if you'd like, we can certainly reach out to them and see if they would like to.
Have 2 locations in town?
If you
Something
would
to
want to
think about?
approve it and then make a recommendation that the school allow it, because
Oh, okay.
it is on school property.
Oh, that's true.
You're all right.
And you may be also opening it up for other charities wanting to do that at each election too, so just,
Something to think about.
okay. do you want to do anything for now, or do you want to look at it for next year?
Next year.
I'd like to look at it for next year.
Okay.
If it's gonna be on the same day, we may as well take advantage of the traffic.
Okay, we have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Ms. Craver?
Yes, sir. Each year, the chairman of the Board of Selectmen is tasked with preparing the Board of Selectmen's annual report for the previous year. This report is from January 1st to December 31st. Chairman McGrath has completed the 2018 annual town report. The board's February 12th, 2019 meeting, we brought this to you for review. The board decided to wait on this to allow all members time to review. You are being asked to review and approve with any recommended changes. Staff is working to compile the town report and would need this as soon as possible. Ms. Speedwack has forwarded her comments. As she will not be here tonight, she would suggest deleting the following language. Though the town voted to approve marijuana in the town of Charlton at the November 8th, 2016 presidential election by a vote of 3,762 for and 3,466 against, or to keep the above language and attribute the controversy that exists today due to the fact that the leadership in 2016 was not proactive, as following the state vote, they did not hold a local vote to determine whether to permit the selling of marijuana and marijuana products for consumption on the premises at commercial establishments. See the state ballot question. Nor did they heed the advice of MMA/AG best practices recommendation regarding recreational marijuana strategy attached, which also indicated that we should act as quickly as possible on the local decision-making process and suggested the option of enacting a temporary moratorium. To list the history of petitions and votes, a resident emailed us a while back, which is attached. Selectman Singer would suggest making the initial change Ms. Speedwack mentioned, which is to deleting the language. And you have that in front of you. So what is the board's?
What are the board's wishes?
Mr. Chair, was that language deleted? I don't see it in here.
If you,
Was it already removed?
we had talked about just removing it. Mary was putting this together as we were flying in here, so let me just see.
I believe Mary removed it,
It looks like it was already removed.
It's gone.
so.
Through the chair,
Ms. Noble?
do we need a motion on this?
Yes.
So, Mr. Chair, I would motion to accept with the changes Mary implemented based on Selectman Speedwack's request.
Okay.
So deleting the language, so just in case it's here, we'll delete
It
that.
should be deleted.
Okay.
Okay. Ms. Noble?
I would second that,
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
yes.
Go ahead.
I am never in favor of throwing stones backwards. And I would not want to criticize the leadership in 2016 in any way in our annual town report. I don't know that that would be appropriate, nor would it be kind to them. We were entering unknown, uncharted territory. They did the best they could with what they had at hand, and I don't feel it's right for us to criticize them by saying that they were not proactive. That sounds as though we're being critical of their actions, and I wasn't part of the leadership in 2016, and I'm not inclined to be critical of them. So if it means simply deleting that one line, and I'm amenable to that.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second.
Yeah.
Any further discussion?
No, I already shared with you my reasons. I shared with Karen for the deletion of the line. And if the public wants to know, it's simply because the board of selectmen puts out an annual report written by the chair, and that report is supposed to be a simple summary of what transpired in the year prior. And it's not supposed to be a complete detailed breakdown of everything that we've done, or it would be a 500-page document. So I also thought it best to delete that line in order to keep it as a summary. And if we did put all those lines in, we would have to then do that for every other thing we had done. And I think that, at that point, defeats the purpose of the summary.
This is true, I would agree.
All right, so we have motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. Warrant?
Want to go to the warrant?
Sure, why not?
So you're scheduled to close the annual town meeting warrant tonight. We've prepared a draft warrant for your review. Actually, the listing of the warrant articles. The language will be finalized at your next meeting. If you'd like, I can go through the articles you and the other boards have requested. There are some placeholders as we are unclear as to what the articles are trying to do, such as the Water Sewer Commission's request to clarify Exxon Mobil money. So if you'd like me to go through them.
Please.
All right. So many of the front articles, as you know, appear on every annual town meeting. So under Article 1, there is the election, and you had talked about putting a question 1, referendum question, shall the town of Charlton ban marijuana? As you know, the general bylaw, which this was attached to, was defeated or said null and void by the land court. But you also have a petition in here later on for a zoning ban, but put forth by the planning board. So my question to you would be, do you wish to leave this on?
If we leave it on, can we remove it later?
You can remove it before I go to print.
Okay, so my suggestion would be to leave, this is my suggestion, leave it on until we talk with council about what the land court decision, so what that has to do with the question 1 that was attached to it. I think, you know, and we also need to make it known to them that the planning board has a zoning bylaw on, that they're trying to pass also.
Okay, I'll do that. All right, town reports, litigation, appropriation of funds for unpaid bills of a prior year. I'm not aware of any, but we do carry that as a stock in case something comes up. Interdepartmental transfers for FY, that'll be for this year, FY19. And I anticipate to have a list for you to take a look at your next meeting, regular meeting. The town budget, I've already presented that to you. That's gone to Finance Committee, and they have set up scheduled hearings with the departments. Water Department budget, Sewer Department budget, transfer of funds to and from stabilization fund account, cemetery perpetual care, general bylaw amendment, Department of Public Works and Superintendent, we've talked about that. Personnel bylaw amendment, classification plan update, I'm waiting to see what the planning, this is a placeholder to see if the Personnel Board needs this. Personnel bylaw amendment, Human Resources Department, Personnel Board, revolving funds. The only change to the revolving funds is increasing the recycling from, I believe it was 1,000 to 5,000. They're doing more grants, so it's just increasing their annual amount to spend. They don't want to bump up against their limit. And I would recommend that you approve that. New public safety building complex construction. I believe that the Public Safety Building Committee is meeting on a weekly basis now, and they are working diligently to try and have this ready for Maytown meeting. Acquisition of property for a town well near Buffinville. I spoke with the superintendent, water superintendent today. Originally, we weren't sure if they were going to want 2 separate articles because there's 2 properties that they need to purchase for this well. They already have the ability and authority to purchase the properties through special legislation. But what they do need to go to town meeting for is to transfer the funds. So in one article, we will be transferring the funds for the purchase of Burns Realty and Phillips Realty for public water supply. The Water Sewer Commission also made a motion about clarifying remaining Exxon Mobil settlement money. I put this as a placeholder, and when I spoke with Mr. Boyer, I suggested that we get a meeting together with the Water Sewer Commission and the Board of Selectmen to have a conversation on what they're wanting to achieve with that. The next ones are from the Planning Board, Section 200-5.21 is the large-scale solar energy systems. This is a new section referred to by the Solar Bylaw Committee. Section 200-7.1 D6C, site plan review, to state that final action should take place 90 days after the close of the public hearing. Section 200-7-1G3, enforcement and penalty, to change the maximum fine for zoning violations from $50 a day to $300 a day. Section 200-3.2B, use regulation schedule, to add a new line, 6V, energy storage, and amend Section 200-2, definitions, to add a new definition of energy storage. This is referred by the Solar Bylaw Committee. Section 200-3.2B, use regulation schedule, to amend subsection 6, communications, transportation and public utility uses, lines 1, M, N, and S, by requiring special permits, SP, in all instances where site plan review and approval, P, is presently required. Section 200-5.20, zoning ban, marijuana. Then we have citizen petitions. There is a citizen petition to see if the town will vote to amend the zoning map, Section 200.3.1.B. This, I believe, is for Treehouse. Citizen petition, special legislation to amend the Charlton Recall Special Act. Citizen petition to see if the town will vote to change the following. These last two just came in today from Mr. Lemansky. To see if the town will vote to change the following within the zoning bylaw principal uses: business uses, district CB, community business, marijuana establishments, 1, retail sale of marijuana and marijuana products and accessories, from N, not allowed, to SP, special permit. And citizen petition, the second one is to see if the town will vote to change the following within the zoning bylaw 5.20. Marijuana establishments, the planning board shall not approve more than 3 recreational regional marijuana establishments.
That's interesting that we have the one wanting to ban marijuana, and then we have another one, 2 more that are trying to change the zone it's allowed in and to increase by 1.
And as you know, you will have Fourscore here tonight, and they if you go by the spirit of the bylaw, it says 2, so you probably would not be doing a third host agreement. My understanding is that Fourscore has been requesting a retail, and this would actually, if it passes, would allow Fourscore to go forward with their retail component.
Okay, excellent.
And then there's 2 citizen petitions that are not recommended by town council.
Mr. Chair,
Do you want to take those?
Mr. Singer,
I'd like to know why town council is not recommending those 2.
I will read Mr. Cosgrove's letter. You should have a copy also, right there.
That's it.
So there's 2 citizen petition, one to see if the town will vote no confidence in the professional competency and leadership, and another petition to censor the planning board.
Censure.
So Jim wrote to us, Jim Cosgrove, the town council. Pursuant to the Board of Selectmen's policy, I reviewed and assisted the petitioner who had submitted a proposed article for the May 20th, 2019 annual town meeting warrant, which proposes to seek an amendment to earlier special legislation that established procedures for recall elections in the town. That article will be appearing on the warrant. Yesterday and today, I received and reviewed 3 additional proposed articles which had been submitted by petition. One of them is a proposed amendment to the zoning bylaw, and per what is now long-established custom and procedure, I will not be reviewing that since the planning board had long ago signaled that it did not wish review of such articles by town council and instead preferred to rely on the town director of planning. The two remaining petitions, since neither of them include any subject matter as to which a town meeting has the power to act effectively, raise the question of whether the Board of Selectmen is required to include the articles on the warrant. The one received yesterday seeks a vote of no confidence in the planning board and the demand the planning board members change their conduct and work toward improving interdepartmental relationships. The second, received today, seeks a vote of no confidence in the town administrator and that the Board of Selectmen remove the town administrator from her office if she were not to resign. Both contain either express or clearly implicit allegations with respect to the targeted board or administrator's motives and character. His conclusion: for the reasons set forth below, the Board of Selectmen is not required to include either of such articles on the annual town meeting, though it is free to do so, in my opinion, doing so would both foreseeably impair the conduct of town business at the meeting and set a bad precedent, as well as in the case of the latter, posing the risk of potential litigation and liability. And then he goes on to, he's under what authorities the board is allowed to do this under. Mass General Law, Chapter 39, Section 10. And he goes on to give a lot of case law on what has happened in previous cases. So then, from there, he goes on to give us an analysis of specific articles at issue here. The town meeting action sought by the first petition is a vote of no confidence in the planning board, and as set forth in the final paragraph of the petition, is as follows. For these reasons, a vote of no confidence is requested with the demand for the planning board members to change their conduct and to work toward improving damaged cross-functional departmental relationships to improve both trust and confidence in its ability to serve the public with honesty and unbiased decision-making. Well-established law in the Commonwealth holds that a town meeting, which is the legislative body of the town, may not direct a town board or official, which are part of the executive branch of the town, as to how to perform the latter's statutory duties. Therefore, the town meeting would be powerless to take any legally effective action with respect to the matters set forth in the petition. The town meeting action sought by the second petition is a vote of no confidence in the town administrator, and if said vote were to pass, the town asks the Board of Selectmen to remove her from office if she doesn't resign. For the same reasons set forth above, town meeting could take no legally effective action with respect to the foregoing, with the exception of approving budgets, including funding for collective bargaining agreements, approval of such funding being deemed to be approval of the underlying agreement. A town meeting, as the legislative body of the town, cannot get involved in personnel matters. The one time a Charlton town meeting attempted to do so indirectly by zeroing out a line item for the former town executive secretary. It was sued in the federal district court and ended up having to pay damages at the conclusion of a very expensive litigation. There are circumstances, of course, where inclusions of an article of an advisory nature, such as whether the town wishes to build a skating rink, is appropriate, and that has been done at times in the past in Charlton. But the nature and potential consequences of these proposed articles is quite different. Moreover, each of the petitioned for articles include either explicit or clearly implicit allegations challenging the good faith performance of an executive town board or official. And then he went on to go to the directory that we use for running our town meeting, which is Town Meeting Time, Section 62, Decorum and Debate. The consequences of a measure may be reprobated in strong terms, but to arraign the motives of its advocates is against order. Even though no names are mentioned, no person is speaking as to indulge in personalities. In the instant situation, it is difficult to conceive of how any discussion of the subject matter of the proposed warrant articles could proceed without violating the foregoing statement from town meeting time. If either matter proposed concerns a measure within the proper jurisdiction of a town meeting, it might be possible for a town moderator to somehow manage to direct debate into proper channels and thus maintain order and decorum consistent with the above. However, here, when no such matter whatsoever would be presented, it would set very poor precedent to include such an article on the warrant, and it would be impossible to say where that would end up in terms of future town meetings. Therefore, while the Board of Selectmen has authority to include an article on a town meeting warrant, such as those presented here, the consequences which would flow from the same militate strongly against doing so. I recommend that you share a copy of this opinion with those who submitted the respective petitions to the town clerk. So, that's the town council's take on it.
So, Mr. Chair, question for you.
Absolutely did.
They keep trying to call me and tell me that my social security number is being deactivated. Ooh, I think they want to also sell me a bridge.
I get those same calls.
So that, yeah, so that being said, my first question is regarding these two. I am familiar with what town council is referring to. I'm familiar with well, let's just say with what happened and the end result. And I know that town council is 100% correct. I also understand that we don't want to be directed to take an action that would be considered illegal. But at the same time, town meeting, this is the people's forum. They are the legislative body for the town. If these petitions were to be simplified, again, the end doesn't justify the means, they follow the rules, and it was simply residents have the signatures to get a simple vote of no confidence in the planning board or in the selectman's office, and that's the end of it. I have no problem with them doing that to express their dissatisfaction. Obviously, short of, drawing the line short of directing the board to do anything illegal.
So, if you read this, what town council said, he reviewed 3 petitions, okay? One petition was by Mrs. Costigian on the recall process. And she worked with town council on what needed to happen to make sure that it was legal and would hit all the right notes, and it would be able to go to the State House to have the legislature do what they needed to do. Per Ms. Spiewak's recommendation, we've made sure that anybody that wants to do a petition, that they need to get a hold of town council and find out what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do. Whether either one of these contacted town council, doesn't seem as though they did, because Jim probably would have told them what they could do and what they couldn't do. So, I don't know where to go with this.
Could I ask then that we simply hold those 2 slots, refer those petitioners to town council, and if town council comes back and says it's all right if you simply want to have an article that says we want to have a vote, yea or nay, in no confidence in the select board or the planning board, and that's fine, then we would have those slots held. And if after meeting with town council's recommendation is, for reasons X, Y, Z, to be shared hopefully with the board and the public, I would recommend even against that, then we can always remove them. But I think we can keep them on at this time.
I have no problem with leaving them as a placeholder. I think in reading Jim's letter, because of the intent, they're probably not gonna, unless they.
Right, because the intent would have to change and become a simple vote of no
Correct.
confidence.
So, but we will, in the spirit, my thinking is, just as you, in the spirit of making sure everybody has the chance to talk to town council.
That, and to make sure also that the citizens realize that their voices are heard, and if they get a petition, that the rules will be followed.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair?
Ms. Knoll?
I looked through these petitions quickly,
Mhm.
and I'm not finding both of the petitions that Mr. Cosgrove is referring to. I found one citizen's petition, which is the no confidence in the town administrator, and I found that in here twice.
Should be at the back of the packet.
Okay, because I did not find the second petition. I found the recall special act where,
There's the planning board ones right here.
oh, that's quite lengthy, no wonder, I was looking for something shorter.
No, it's very lengthy,
Oh my goodness, okay,
okay?
so, it's in the back, can I see this for just a second?
Sure.
So this one,
And that one actually did go to town council, I believe.
this one, okay, this one doesn't have any signatures on it.
Right. They were working with town council to get before they got the signatures.
Okay, so this petition actually this petition is going through town council, he's already seen it,
And he's saying no.
and he's saying no, okay, but they are working with him
So,
already.
yes,
And the other one, oh, here it is, did that go through town council?
no. It went to town council just yesterday, and in its form that he read now,
Mhm.
he said no.
Okay,
Or his advice is no.
okay, so we have the placeholder for the
Leave
two
the
citizens.
placeholders, my suggestion would be to leave the placeholders, let both petitioning groups talk more with town council. And so,
My other suggestion in reading these,
mhm.
if we're going to have, obviously, these petitions are very important to the citizens, as are all the citizens' petitions. Normally, we would put these on at the end of the night.
Yes.
If they do stay on the warrant, I would respectfully ask that we might move them up so that everyone who wants to participate can. Oftentimes, our meetings have gone rather late, and we've heard from people that, well, I wanted to vote on something, but your meeting went too late. And this is something that people are gonna want to participate in.
No one's leaving until after we vote on solar. No, just kidding.
Well, of course, David. That goes without saying.
So, my suggestion is that, I believe the way the board has always handled it is in whichever order they come in, correct?
You've done that.
So,
Well, we may
And
need
we
to
can-
revisit
we
that.
can-
And you can change it.
we
I
can,
mean,
we can
We have
revisit
changed
it.
order.
Okay, I would suggest that we revisit it, because I'd like to have, people have the opportunity to have full participation on matters that concern them.
So. All right,
On the warrant, the solar energy bylaw, is this as provided by the solar bylaw committee, or having been adjusted by planning board?
It was submitted by the planning board.
So this is the
That's
adjusted version?
that's the
my
finished
understanding.
document.
Okay, so just so everyone here is aware, everything that the solar bylaw committee included in that document, everything has already been approved by the Attorney General and is already in place in communities throughout the Commonwealth, except for Charlton.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. And thanks to the committee. So what's the board's wishes on the warrant?
Do you have a question?
Chair, may I ask
Mrs.
a question? please?
Absolutely.
In the light of transparency, the three petitions that the attorney spoke of, two of them, the petitioner is identified, the third one is not. Could you identify the petitioner with the vote of no confidence in the planning board?
I believe that one of the emails that I saw would be Mrs. Benjamin.
For the vote of no confidence for
In the
who?
planning board.
The planning board.
The other two have names on them,
Yes.
this one doesn't.
And that's because she's been working with town council.
Okay, thank you.
And you can reach out and verify that if you like,
Thank you.
please. Okay, so where do we go from here?
You are closing the warrant,
Mhm.
and it sounds like you wish to, you have a couple of placeholders, even
Mhm.
one up with the water sewer, so you'll close the warrant with this and then take it under advisement.
Okay, so do we motion?
Yeah. So, Mr. Chair, I will move to close the warrant with placeholders for all of those articles.
Okay,
Second.
second, we motion, second, any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. And why don't we move to NFP presentation?
Okay.
Okay.
Is Ken here? Yep.
Yep.
Ken Lombardi is here to provide an NFP presentation regarding health insurance plan design change. He has already met with the Insurance Advisory Committee. We've scheduled him for 7 PM, and Donna Folivio, our town accountant and chair of the Insurance Advisory Council Committee, is here.
Hi, good evening, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to meet for the Board of Selectmen this evening regarding health insurance changes for fiscal year '20. I think the board might recall or is aware that the town's health insurance plan for the employees is provided through the Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust. I do recall meeting with the board several months ago also to talk about the adoption of Mass General Law, Chapter 32B, Sections 21 through 23, which is a local adoption by the Board of Selectmen for the town of Charlton. Essentially, what it allows the town to do is to issue health insurance proposals under that section, collaboratively bargaining with all the various employee unions and retiree representatives on health insurance changes. So the reason why we're here this evening is to advise the board to make a recommendation to adopt or issuing a proposal through sections 21 through 22, changing the healthcare plan design benefits effective July 1st. The first important reason is because of the Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust, your insurance partner, is requiring the healthcare plan to change as of July 1st. The rules and regulations permit the plan design changes by issuance of this proposal from the board, so long as none of the cost-sharing features that are being implemented exceed a certain benchmark level according to the rules and regulations, and you'll find in some of the information that will explain what that absolutely means. So some of the good news about this recommendation is we're zeroing out any potential rate increase to either the town or the members effective July 1st, roughly eliminating about 3 to 4% potential price increase that was recommended by the Health Insurance Trust. Pleased to report that at a 0% rate increase, the members won't see any increase in their contributions under their payroll deductions. Certain members will see some higher co-pays. The town still does not have a health care plan that has yet introduced any type of general annual deductible, referring that as sort of a benchmark as to how most plans typically do include larger cost sharing, such as a larger deductible amount. The process is this: we're advising the board to approve the recommendation. There's a mechanical process involved where the town must notify the Insurance Advisory Committee of the changes, and then once the IAC meets and understands what the proposed changes are, then we'll meet with a group called the Public Employee Committee, which is the legal bargaining team represented by the unions and retirees in this process. The sole function of that committee in the negotiations through the town administrator's office is to determine how the members would hopefully agree to a recommendation on how to disperse savings from the plan. The way the rules work is there's a avoided amount of increase from the changes. That total dollar amount at 25% is required to be distributed back to the members. The intent of that process is to help any members that are negatively impacted by the cost-sharing feature changes. And we'll put that proposal together under what is referred to as a 5203 notice, which includes all of the information about how the changes are going to be implemented and how they impact the particular members. You'll actually see on page 2, if you will, and I want to be sensitive to the fact that there are cost-sharing features that some members will incur more so than others. But I've highlighted in red the fundamental changes, as you can see from this schedule of benefits. Office visits for office visits for primary care physicians and specialists, co-pays have increased. There's been a slight increase in emergency room. There's been 2 additions of co-pays that did not exist previously. Those would be for facility expenses for either inpatient hospitalization or outpatient surgery. Those are typical and usually found in most municipal health insurance plans. Again, we're not providing any deductible expense other than copay changes. I did include in your exhibit what the benchmark level of plan design is that is permitted for the town to move its healthcare plan to, and that's the plan on the right, noted as the GIC benchmark fiscal year 20 plan. And you can see that even with the minor changes, we're not yet approaching any of the cost-sharing features that the GIC benchmark plan design permits for the communities that have adopted full legislation. I also want to advise the Board of Selectmen that the town management of the healthcare plan has been extremely beneficial. We've seen a minimal adjustment. Last year, we saw a minimal adjustment, and now none this year. I also benchmarked for you premium costs. Those are the full monthly premium rates at the bottom of this particular chart. And what I think is important for you all to understand is that the small town of Charlton, which has less than 100 or so subscribers, has premium costs and a more robust benefit plan level than roughly 440,000 subscribers under the state healthcare plan. So this is an extremely favorable benchmark position. So I think we're pleased to be able to work with the Public Employee Committee to see minimal changes and really some very significant cost savings when it comes to premium contributions. Not many folks are on the PPO plan. We offer 2 healthcare plan options for members. That's on page 3. Most of our participants are in the HMO. PPO is available for any out-of-area needs if anyone happens to use those, but as you can see, there's some minor changes there as well. More importantly to the board is really the mechanical process, and that's outlined on page 4. We have a requirement under the regulations to meet before the board and ask for the authorization of the town administrator to issue the proposal. We'll then meet with the various employee insurance advisory committees and public employee committees to explain the information. There's no carrier change, there's no network provider change. There will be a change in some cost-sharing features. We'll present to them what the amount of savings is, which is roughly about $30,000, 25% of the avoided increase. That is the money that the Board of Selectmen is authorized to disperse back to the membership. The membership will hopefully engage with us in some discussions on how we may want to recommend the mitigation funds be distributed. A couple of ways to consider could be premium holidays, paying some of the co-pays, for instance. There's some equitable options that we would like to recommend to the BEC to consider. A final opportunity for us is to make sure we meet all the requirements by getting this information wrapped up by May 1st. So we'll engage in meetings over the next 6 weeks or so to make sure that we meet that deadline. Then ultimately, as of May 1st, the members will be well aware of what the new plan design will be and then what their mitigation process will be. So it's pretty much mechanical from here on, and I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Mr. Chair,
Interesting.
which is the PPO? It's not identified.
So that's on page 3. Excuse me, yeah, it's on page 3. And the HMO is on page 2.
So they both say HMO.
Pretty much, yes. There's actually no one, there's only one person, I believe, who has selected our PPO plan. It's the more expensive plan, obviously, because it has an out-of-network option. Otherwise, there's about 70 or so people that are covered under the HMO plans, including some retirees.
So as far as the offerings go, from my experience and what I've seen, this is an amazing plan.
And we save money.
Yes.
Yeah, this was a wise decision by town management several years ago, Robin, when you moved the health plan into the healthcare group insurance trust. It's been very remarkable, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I think the coverage and the co-pays are, from what my experience in the private sector, are laughable. I wish we had these.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's excellent.
Okay.
We may get some pushback on the additional co-pays for hospitals and ambulatory surgical facilities, but overall, it's
They're minor.
excellent coverage.
Yeah, they're minor, and even the ER copay, if you get admitted, it's waived, so it's zero.
So where do we go from here?
So Donna, what are you looking for votes?
So we need to vote to give us permission to notify the IAC and proceed with the
Sections
ringing.
21 through 22.
Yeah.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Second, we have a motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's excellent. Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Please, are you done?
Robin, do you want to list the members that are missing?
Yes, that'd be fine, thank you. Thanks.
Okay. Ms. Cravel?
Do you want to go to your 7:30? I think
Absolutely.
everyone's here.
Yep, absolutely.
Come on up. At the board's last meeting, you held a public meeting for Fourscore at 144 Sturbridge Road. Host agreement and related documents. There were no concerns heard at that time. Tonight, you are scheduled to take action on these documents. Selectmen Speedwack and Safarovich will not be in attendance tonight, but they both said they have no issues with this. What's the board's wishes?
So what do we need? Do we need a vote on the host agreement?
And the
or-
development agreement. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So was this host agreement online? Just curious.
Yes, it's
Yes.
been online since your last meeting.
And the development agreement also.
Mm-hmm.
And they were discussed at length at our last meeting, if I remember correctly.
Did you?
Ms.
Have we
Noble?
gotten any comments from the public regarding the postings online?
No.
Nothing at all? Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Singer?
So Ms. Spiewak and Mr. Safarovich said they have no issues with it. Did we get anything in writing from them?
I believe we did. I saw an email from Karen. It was-
I don't think Mary put anything in the packet. If you'd like to see that, I can go find out if she's got something.
Could you?
Hello, gentlemen, nice to see you again.
Hello, nice to
Sorry
see
about
you.
the early meeting.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. The end to a long road?
We certainly hope so,
Yeah.
provided your vote this evening in favor. But it's really just the beginning of a long, healthy relationship.
So, David, I know that from Karen, I did see an email. Okay, Mary's gone.
Yeah, and I believe from my conversations, with Karen, I just wanted to know if we had something in writing.
Yeah. So, do we have a motion on this?
We need a motion in order to discuss it.
Correct.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that motion. So moved.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second,
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there discussion?
yes.
Okay?
I'd like everyone to know that for months now, representatives from Fourscore have been attending the Marijuana Advisory Committee meetings. They've done this in anticipation that these host agreements and development agreements would come forward. They were hoping it would. But even if they hadn't, they've still been active participants, and I commend that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Your presence there has been appreciated. There have been open lines of communication. I know that you've been working with our health department and our health director on odor mitigation and other concerns such as traffic, location, hiring practices. You've been to all our meetings, so you know what the Marijuana Advisory Committee is all about and what we're concerned with. So that groundwork has already been laid. The foundation is there.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Mr. Singer?
I would thank them for their patience, and I would also want to point out, so anyone watching, that while there are only 3 members of the board here, the support for this is unanimous for all 5 members of the board.
Correct.
And this has been available, if people weren't aware, it has been online for weeks.
as well.
I do have one question.
Mhm.
It was my understanding, though, that the retail portion of your operation was somewhat up in the air. It doesn't sound like that's up in the air anymore. Can you clear that up?
Well, I think we've been very transparent from the beginning of this process that we would love to propose a retail establishment at that site. Our position is that it's the highest and best use of the property, that would, include a retail component to that facility, and certainly would be the best for the town from a financial perspective. As the board's well aware, we pulled the retail component from our application very early on, given the outcome of town meeting and the limitation to 2 licenses. Certainly, we would love to engage the board in further discussions on that, but at this point, we're currently moving forward on cultivation and production, and we'd like to get that project going.
Okay. You are aware that a petition came in to change it from 2 to 3. That may be coming at town meeting.
I heard that, yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure you're aware of that.
We would certainly support that petition.
I'm sure you would. Okay.
And if one were to withdraw, then we would fall right in quickly. That
Thank
would
you.
occur.
All right, any other discussion?
No, sir.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. No further discussion. All in favor?
Aye. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And we have, so that's the host agreement, and then we need a motion on the development agreement.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Excellent, thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate your patience, and we appreciate your working with all the departments.
Absolutely. Happy to do
I've
so.
been- I know you've been down in planning, and they're happy with what's going on, I believe.
Excellent.
Okay,
Well, thank you very much.
Take care.
thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Craver, back to with the budget.
I pretty much did the budget at the time, because I've
Okay.
already given you a balanced
Yep.
budget. It's gone to
Okay,
Finance Committee. I have no note.
I just want to
nothing
make sure
new.
I didn't miss anything.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, okay.
committee reports?
I did have a marijuana advisory committee meeting this evening. I would prefer to wait until our next board meeting, when I have the draft minutes to share, before giving a committee report, if that's all right.
Sure. Board of Selectmen policy review, we have nothing under that for this evening. Anya, the student select persons report.
I have lots tonight. Okay. So for Youth Art Month, which I believe was February, the Worcester Art Museum held a student art submission competition, and 3 students from Shepherd Hill won prizes. Hannah Guerin won for the 11th grade and will receive an honorable mention prize of art materials. Senior Brittany Larson won the entire high school division and received $100 worth of art supplies. And junior Jesslyn Crudeau won the grand prize and will receive a check for $400. And her flag design will also be on display at the NAEA convention. The Shepherd Hill Art Department will also receive $600 worth of art supplies for their classrooms. This month, the 3 Shepherd Hill show choirs, Illusion, T-Tones, and Fantasy, have brought home back-to-back grand championships, also receiving a variation of awards ranging from Best Band, Best Costume, Best Female Soloist, Best Vocals, and many others. They leave for Florida to compete at the Heart of America Orlando competition next Thursday. And their district show, which will include both the middle schools and all 3 high school groups, will be April 10th at 6 p.m. And tickets go on sale this Friday at 8 p.m. They're $10 each. For sports, cheer placed 5th out of 15 at Tantascwa on March 10th. Our runner, Brian Santos, who I mentioned last week, is currently holding the position as the 8th fastest high school 60-mile runner in all of America. Emma Sullivan becomes Shepherd Hill's first nationals medalist, finishing 5th in the emerging elite 800 meter on March 8th. Last Friday's dodgeball tournament raised, and I quote, a ton of money for the Jimmy Rivera Fund. Tried to find the amount, it wasn't anywhere. Also, a huge congratulations to seniors Emma Whitehead and to Cody Adams. They were the recipients of the MIAA Student Athlete of the Month Awards. Emma won in December and Cody won in January. The Midland Wachusett Indoor Track All-Stars boys and Indoor Track All-Stars include Brian Belmont, Brian Santos, Rebecca James, Madison Marsh, Emma Sullivan, and Jillian Sullivan. And the Midland Wachusett Cheerleader All-Stars include Haley Coggins, Alexandra D'Arcangelo, and Samantha DiDonato. Some things that are upcoming in the school. Pi Day is going to be this Thursday, and all week the math departments have been taking orders for $1 for a tabletop pie, and all the proceeds are going to be benefiting the Cynthia Boyd Memorial Scholarship Fund. The second annual John Pear basketball tournament is going to be this Saturday beginning at 9 a.m. All proceeds benefit the John Pear Student Support Fund, and the registration is closed, but attending the event would be absolutely wonderful. There's a special guest speaker, Judge Bibote, I think. He works for the Dudley Courts, and he's going to be at Shepherd Hill Thursday, March 21st from 1 to 2 for all of the students at Shepherd Hill interested in law, legal studies, and criminal justice. And then just some things for the future. Friday, April 5th, the Booster Club is holding a fundraiser called Back to the 80s with DJ Pooh at Point Breeze in Webster. Tickets are $25 per person for a table of reservation or 8 or 10. There will be silent auctions and raffles. That is for primarily adults. And The Real Inspector Hound by Tom Stobart and A Mad Breakfast by I Am Gray are the two plays this spring, held Friday, April 26th and Saturday, April 27th, both shows at 7 p.m. in the auditorium. $10 for adults and $5 for students, and seniors and children under the age of 5 are free.
Wow,
Excellent.
there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on at the Hill, so thank you, Anya.
Yeah. Oh, I would also like to add, as I mentioned, I was going to have a meeting with Mr. Chaplin. We decided to limit the Mocktown meeting, the number of warrant topics from 7 to 5. And right now we have Momo Challenge / Internet Safety in School, Juuling and Vaping, Budget Plan, School Buses, and we're searching for a 5th one right now.
Okay.
Okay,
Good topics.
excellent. They were good topics last year.
Yeah. That's it.
I think we talked about busing last year too.
Yeah,
We
I
did.
added
There's a
busing
lot
and
of
budget
busing.
again,
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
busing always gets kids.
Okay.
It's a good one. Too cold, too hot.
Too long a ride,
We had
too
some
short
good
ride.
discussion.
I'm bored.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, how to make the ride better.
We need snacks, like, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Other business unknown at the time of posting.
No, sir.
No, and our next meeting announcement, and the next meeting is the Board of Selectmen Workshop Meeting, March 18th, 2019, in this room, and time to be determined. So once we have all the participants lined up, we will post the time. Thank you. So, motion?
No, just a comment. As I mentioned earlier, my availability will be very limited between now and the
Yes.
20th.
Not a problem. We understand, David.
Our next regular selectmen's meeting?
Yeah, special selectmen's meeting, March 29th, 2019, at 6:30 PM at the Charlton Middle School Library. And then our next regular Board of Selectmen's meeting, March 26th, here in the Selectmen's meeting room at 6:30 PM. So, motion?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. Good night, folks. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.